My readers, at this stage of our budding relationship, will not be surprised to find out that I am a baby. They will not be shocked to find out that, although I'm not sure how to quite put it into words, I know God exists, and I, my mother will be pleased to know, love Him more than anybody else in the world. Even though I'm not very old, I am a creature of habit. As with my 3 previous evenings, I was sitting with my mother and my, I later found out, father in front of the television. My mother likes the football, while my, I later found out, father prefers a YouTube debate. As a result, I got my love for football from my mother's milk and my love for God, in spite of what Sight and Grooving Kate says, father's headphones, one of which was stuck into my ear. Don't get me wrong, I didn't quite follow the arguments Sight and Grooving Kate was making, but one look at the laptop screen convinced me that his side, it was a debate between 2 teams of 3, was winning by a margin. As for the football, I later found out Chelsea were losing both the game and their special manager, but I couldn't give a shit. As both contests were proceeding along predictable lines, my eyelids fell heavy, and I was about to lose consciousness when I heard the pastor Jeff Durbin, who was sitting next to Sight and Grooving Kate, asking, "Why don't you eat babies?" I wasn't sure about the exact meaning of the question, but you will appreciate my alarm. I felt the need to start learning English as soon as possible. My, I later found out, father turned to my mother and asked, "What's for dinner?" My mother sighed, got up, and handed me to him. To say that I felt reluctant will be an understatement. Later, you will be surprised to know, I found out that so did he. He held me precariously, and, I later found out, he wasn't happy with the smell. "He needs changing," he said. My mother took me from him and changed my nappy. "Thanks," he said. "What did you say we were having for dinner?" The speaker on the atheist team said, "Did you say eating babies?" To which Pastor Jeff Durbin said, "As God is not telling you not to, why not eat babies?" It sounded like an accusation. The atheist speaker looked a little lost, and you could clearly see the wheels of his brain searching for an excuse. He was clearly in panic, and the fact that there was no baby taking part in the debate was reassuring. "There's nothing in the fridge," said my mother. She put powder on my backside and kissed me. I accepted her gesture with grace, but the reader will appreciate I was keeping one eye open just in case. "If you got out of the chair and went to work," said my mother, "we might have had something to eat in the house." My, I later found out, father said that it wasn't his fault he was fired. I later found out that my father was a door-to-door salesman. To his surprise, I later found out the Bible didn't sell itself. "I told you believing the product would help," said my mother. "But would you listen? No. You know everything. So don't go complaining now when the fridge is empty." The atheist team's captain apologized for not eating babies and said, "If I was to eat a baby, the human race would suffer a loss." According to that view, Pastor Jeff Durbin jumped on him like a flying llama. The human race would benefit if parents were to eat 5 out of every 6 babies. Is there a baby in the crowd? The atheist turned white. One of them tried to explain that although the world would benefit if a few million babies weren't to be born, eating them was not the way. It was too late. Jeff Durbin presented the atheists with a baby. The baby's mother smiled. "Please," he said, with a grin. "You are hungry. Here's food. What's stopping you?" The atheist opened his mouth, and Jeff, in the last moment, pulled the baby away from his jaws. Atheists the world over, watching the debate live as opposed to the football, were turning to Jesus rather than eating their babies. Mankind has been saved in the 89th minute. Chelsea, I later found out, have equalized in the 89th minute. "Right," said my mother. "I'm going out to work. As usual, I have to do the shopping as well as winning the bread." I might add here that my mother, I later found out, is a brain surgeon, and not what you, yes you, might suspect. As for my father eating me, he didn't. Perhaps what kept me alive was the fact that if he ate me, there would be nothing else to eat if my mother ever was to lose her job. The truth, I later found out, is more mundane. Babies just don't taste good.